Congressman Linder, the FairTax Act of 2005 finished up in the last Congress with 58 co-sponsors. The FairTax Act of 2007 that was just reintroduced into Congress currently has 34 co-sponsors. How many of those past co-sponsors do you foresee coming on board with this one, and how many more above that do you think we should shoot for?
Some people who were for it lost their seats in the last election, not necessarily over this issue, but a lot of issues. I believe that the retreat I'm going on with conservatives in Baltimore on February 1st weekend will pick up another significant number of sponsors. As Republicans who lost the majority, we are in agreement on one thing. If you're going to come back, you have to come back with big ideas. And this is about as big as it comes. If we can move this forward in a Republican conference and get more Democrat sponsors, I told Dan Bourne, our only Democrat sponsor to date, we want to make it bipartisan. This is a huge idea, and he's willing to help. It's conceivable it may not move in this Congress, but it's going to move soon because the economic forces come to play on the American people are going to force us in this direction.
Now, Representative Dan Bourne is from Oklahoma. He's a Democrat. Is he a primary sponsor on this bill or another co-sponsor?
I put him down as a original co-sponsor and the number 2 guy on the bill.
Okay.
I want him to move. We've got a significant number of Democrat freshmen who won campaigning as conservatives, as small government, pro-life, pro-gun conservatives, and we're just going to give them an opportunity to prove that they are what they said they were.
Right after our last election, Dick Morris was heard saying on several talk shows that he felt the Republican Party lost this Congress because they did not take on a big issue such as the fair tax, and he actually said the fair tax. What do you think the chances are that one of the parties will take on fair tax as a national campaign issue for the 2008 elections, and which party would that be?
It's likely to be a Republican Party. There's just still enough Democrats, the older Democrats who are in leadership. The average age of a Democrat chairman today is about 74 or 75, and the average length of time in Congress is 34 to 35 years. They aren't changing their spots. They still like a tax system that encourages you to do things that they approve of. But the younger Democrats coming on board are likely to listen more to their constituents. I think it'll be a Republican issue. I think it'll be an agenda issue for the election. That with a couple other important issues on immigration, for example, and on energy independence. But at the top of the list would be a tax simplification bill, and ours has more study in it and more testing than any others.
Well, I know I, for one, am going to be very excited to see the Republican Party and to take this on as a campaign issue and bring more Democrats into the issue, because we do need bipartisan support. We need everybody in Congress that you can round up to help us with this. And as the party takes a campaign interest in it, that will help Americans for Fair Taxation spread the word across the country when we have all of the members of the party out there campaigning for the fair tax.
We will, but I assure you that I'm not spending a great deal of time convincing my colleagues that this is a good idea. I'm letting you do that. And the people that sign on, such as Dan Bourne, I said, why did you sign, Dan? He said, because I can't escape it in my district. That's because of people like you and the grassroots that are bringing it up at every town hall meeting, and they're listening.
So what you would say as a word of encouragement to all of us fair tax supporters is get involved. Don't sit back. Go to our town hall meetings. Go to call your representatives. Write them letters, emails, faxes, and make sure your representatives understand that you support the fair tax, so they'll get on board.
And demand a response. And when you get a response, if it is so ill-informed as to say, such as, it hurts the poor, when we know it's the most progressive tax bill ever introduced and totally untaxes the poor. If they respond with that, go back after them again. Ask them to explain that. There's a lot of people who deal their whole life in cliches, and that is a cliche.
Exactly.
I have always believed that a cliche is a substitute for rigorous thought. Don't let them get away with it.
And we've got to make sure that our representatives, if they're supporting the fair tax, are out there fighting for it.
Yes.
We saw in this last election, we didn't see a lot of fight in our fair tax supporters, and that's what we'd like to see in our next election.
Well, the grassroots will make them do that.
Yes, that's what we're working for. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Congressman Linder. Do you have any more questions, Elizabeth?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.